Hi guys, welcome to the vlog. So in this vlog I'm going to talk about 5 tips that I've got that could possibly help. Definitely one of them should help you save money, and some of them are just a little bit of advice and a few things that we found out on our recent trip that we've just done while we've been in Marbella. I've got a little bit of things written down here because I can't remember everything, so I'm just going to work my way through them. So we're going to start at the beginning, the first one. So this is not a money saving one, but it's just a company that I highly recommend. So if you don't know an awful lot about me, I used to work in the travel industry, and one of the companies that I work for used to highly recommend this company for resort transfers, and that's Hoppa. Now, if there's just two of us, so if there's just me and David and we're going on a holiday, we'll just jump in a taxi at the airport because that's often the most convenient. You're not having to look around and find somebody. But when you've got, like on our last trip, there were 5 of us. So there were 5 of us and we had 5 suitcases. The cost for 2 taxis there and back, we thought it'd be better to try and book a transfer. And so we went to Hoppa because I thought, we used to recommend this company. So just to let you know how it went, they were amazing. So even before we had flown to Spain, they had contacted us to check that the flight was the same, that nothing had changed. When we was collecting our luggage, we got a text to say they were there waiting for us. We went through the, after we'd gone through and picked up our luggage, we went through the doors, there they were holding up our name. Couldn't have gone smoother. The guy was really professional. The van that he came with was beautiful and clean, absolutely fantastic. And the same coming home. When we were coming home, we got a text the day before just telling us where they would be meeting us and what time to get there. And literally, we turned up and they were there. So yeah, highly recommend this company. I'll put the details in so that you can find the correct website, but yeah, Hoppa, absolutely brilliant. So tip number 2. Now this one, it takes a little bit. You have to build a relationship for this one to work. So our flights out from the UK was 6:30 in the morning-ish, and we got there local time around about 10:30. But we wasn't allowed in our apartment until 5 o'clock at night. So that would have meant 5 hours. By the time we got to the resort at midday, it would have been like 5 hours of lugging the suitcases round, which is not making for a good first day, is it? You want to just drop your suitcases off and go out and explore. And the same coming home, we had to be out of the apartment at 11 o'clock, but our flight wasn't, we weren't getting picked up till 5 o'clock in the evening. So again, we had 6 hours of dragging the suitcases round. So what I always do when I go on trips is have a look, so whether it be booking.com or with Airbnb, and have a look and see if the property has been booked out the day before you arrive and the day you're leaving on the day after. And if it hasn't, I'll just contact the property. First of all, I'm just chit-chatting, saying, it's only 2 weeks before we arrive, really looking forward to it. Yeah, your property looks amazing. Just build up a bit of a relationship with the property owner or the person who's looking after the property in resort. And then after I'd done this, there'd been a few emails to from the property. I don't know if it was the property manager, but whoever it was, they were really lovely. I just asked a question, told them the flight times and just said, is it possible for us to drop our suitcases off? We don't need access to the room, but can we just drop our suitcases off and leave them there until we can check in? And we got an email back pretty much straight away saying, we're going to send the cleaners in early, so as soon as you arrive in resort, you can go in your apartment. And that's exactly what happened. We were in our apartment by midday. We dropped our suitcases off, we had a cup of tea, we relaxed a little bit, and then off we went. We went out and we was out. We felt like it was our first proper day as opposed to lugging the suitcases round. We didn't ask about the last day there and then. I communicated during the course of the holiday. I just sent a little message saying we're having a wonderful time. Is it possible for us on our last day to maybe leave our suitcases? And again, the reply came back saying, We've changed the cleaner to come on the Monday. We were leaving on the Sunday. So don't worry, stay there until your flight or until your pickup time. So guys, it's worth asking the question. Absolutely worth asking the question. And it's worth trying to build up a relationship with them. Send them some emails where you're not asking for something, just some emails to form that bond with them. But yeah, felt like we got 2 extra days holiday by doing that. So absolutely ask. So this is tip number 3. And this is the one that saved us quite a lot of money. So this is the one you might want to pay attention to. So I've got it written down, so I may have to read a little bit of the information from down here, just so I get it all correct. So if you have a permanent address outside of the EU, so I'm from the UK, so check, I have a permanent address outside of the EU. If you're visiting the EU for less than 6 months, so we was just on a few day break, so check. You're departing the EU country for a non-EU country, so we were departing Spain and we were coming direct to the UK. If you can tick all of those boxes, then you're eligible for a VAT refund on your shopping. So just think of that, you're eligible for a VAT refund on your shopping. So if you make a big purchase, so one of the people with us made quite a big purchase of jackets. And when we were in the shop, this is the only time we learned about this. When we were in the shop, the lady at the check-in desk asked us if we wanted to claim the VAT back on it. And we just said, what do you mean? How do we do this? And she just went through the process and she just said, all I need to do is to see a passport and fill out a form and that you take to the airport. Now, thankfully, although we don't carry our passports around with us, I always have a picture of our passport on our phones. So we had a picture of our passport and they were more than happy to use that. They filled in the form and then off we went. That's all they needed to do until we got to the airport. So what's the process when you get to the airport? So we wasn't sure because obviously there was a bit of a language barrier. The lady was very good in the shop, but we didn't know whether we needed to speak to somebody at this side of security or was it at the other side of security. So we just asked the lady when we was checking in our suitcase, where do we go to claim our VAT back? And she just pointed us in the direction of the desk. So I know most airports will have information desk. So if you're not sure, just go to the information desk and they should point you in the right direction. The process when you get to that desk, they will want to see the form that the shop completed. They'll want the receipts. So they usually staple it all together. They'll want to see a boarding pass to show you leaving a EU country direct to a non-EU country. So you couldn't make a detour. You couldn't fly from like Malaga to Madrid and then do it. You would have to do the claim in your last EU country. So they want to see your boarding pass. They want to see your passport. But the one thing that the shop never told us, but thankfully we were okay, is they want to see the goods. So with the jacket, we had the jacket on us so they could see the jacket. They didn't bother asking to see, we'd made some purchase of makeup as well that we was making the claim on. They weren't bothered about seeing that, but they wanted to see the receipt for the jacket. So if, for example, you bought yourself some fancy shoes or you bought yourself a nice dress and you're travelling home in trainers and comfy clothes, you may just pack them in your suitcase. Just remember, if you want to claim the VAT back, you have to have them just in case they ask to see it. And they did ask us. So yeah, that's quite an important point to remember. But yeah, I waited a little bit before I posted this video. In fact, this morning I've just contacted my friend and just asked whether she has actually received the money back on her credit card. You can either have it put on your credit card or cash. She had the makeup back in cash and the co-purchase we put on a credit card, and the refund has come through. So it was over €200 back onto the card. So absolutely, it is worth doing. Just be aware though that there is a personal allowance for bringing goods into the UK for personal use, and you can find this information on gov.uk. But yeah, this is something that is definitely worth doing if you're going and making purchases while you're abroad. Not every shop will do it. If you're buying stuff at markets and things like that, that's not really going to work, is it? They're not going to have the forms. But if you're going to make a medium to large purchase, then it's definitely worth claiming the VAT back. It's point number 4. So this isn't a tip as such, but more information. We were quite surprised at how much was closed in Marbella on a Sunday. A lot of the shops, I've got videos of us walking around squares and every shop was closed. There were the odd ones that were open, but we decided we wanted to go and have, we were strolling down this lovely little alley and there were these little tapas bars that looked amazing, looked really authentic. We thought we're going to come back here and have a meal. And every time we walked down, they were closed. And we've later found out that they were actually only open at between 1 and 4:30. So they had a really small window where you could go. Sure, this is just a winter thing, but just be aware if you've got any plans for a Sunday or really any day in winter, you'd need to make sure that the venues that you're going to are going to be open, because we were a little bit disappointed. I mean, we ended up finding it somewhere else, which was beautiful, but it's just something to be aware of. And this last one, tip number 5, just have a look out for bargains. If you're going at winter, we was in March, so we were coming towards the end of winter, there were some great sales on. So, I mean, we found a shop, I think it was called, I've got it written down, Via Miliano, and it was offering 70% off the clothes. My husband did really well in that shop because it was all jumpers and things. So they were obviously getting ready to bring in the summer clothing line. So yeah, absolutely keep an eye out for bargains. And just a bonus tip I'm throwing in at the end here. If you're arriving at Malaga Airport and you're waiting for your luggage, and I was just stood there and all these suitcases are going round and you can see the same ones going round. And there's a gentleman beside me laughing and winding me up, basically saying that my suitcase had, been lost, it had gone missing. And I was laughing at the beginning. Then after everyone was picking up their suitcases and going, I was starting to get a little bit nervous, to the point where everybody had gone and there was nothing coming out anymore. So yeah, my nephew just decided to walk to where the suitcases come out and just looked, and he could see that my suitcase had fallen off. It was at this side of like the little conveyor belt thing, but there was a little kink that goes round and my suitcase had fallen off, and you couldn't see it from where we were. You had to climb over the moving conveyor belt to get the suitcase. But yeah, we'd been there around about 20 minutes to half an hour waiting when it had been there all the time. So yeah, if you're going to Malaga Airport and you're waiting for your suitcase, just make sure it hasn't fallen off. Yep, so they're my top tips from our last trip. So hopefully you did find them useful, and happy travels. Hope to see you on the next vlog.